Today we'll be discussing perimeter, circumference, and area. Perimeter is just the distance going around a figure. You see it's made up of two things, peri and meter. Peri means around and meter means measure, so it's just the distance that you measure around a figure. Circumference is the distance around a circle. So it's the same idea as perimeter, but it has to do with circles. Area is the surface that's covered by a figure. Area is in square units, okay? Perimeter and circumference, they're just in regular straight units, but when we have area, it's in square units. So for a square, to find the perimeter, we just add up the four sides, so it's just going to be 4 times whatever the length of the side is. And then the area is just the side squared. So for example, if you have a square with sides equal to 1.6 centimeters, to find the perimeter, you're just going to do 4 times the length of the side, 1.6, and that would be 6.4 centimeters. And then to find the area, it's going to be 1.6 squared. And so that comes out to 2.56 centimeters squared. Okay, so you want to make sure you remember to write your units, and when it's area, make sure your units are squared. Because if you think about it, when you're doing area, you're doing 1.6 centimeters times 1.6 centimeters. So essentially you're doing centimeters times centimeters, which gives you the centimeters squared. Okay, so if we have a rectangle, to find the perimeter, you just have to add up the 4 sides, and since 2 of the sides are the length and 2 of the sides are the width, you can do length plus width plus length plus width, or you can shorten it to just 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. So the perimeter is 2L plus 2W, where L is the length and W is the width. For area, you're going to multiply length times width. And again, that will be in square units. So, for example, if I'm given a rectangle with a length of 13 and a width of 5.7, if I want to find the perimeter, I can just do 2 times the length, which we said was 13, plus 2 times the width of 5.7. So 2 times 13 is 26, and 2 times 5.7 is 11.4. And so when we add those together, we get 37.4 meters. And so that would be the perimeter of the rectangle with those dimensions. Then to find the area, we just have to do length times width. So we would do 13 times 5.7, and you end up getting 74.1 meters squared. So hopefully this is something that you guys remember doing from other times in your life involvement with math. This should just be review, hopefully. All right, a triangle. A triangle, to find the perimeter, you just want to add up the 3 sides. So if my 3 sides are A, B, and C, I just do A plus B plus C. And for the area, it's 1/2 the base times the height. So if I want to find the perimeter in the area, if A is 8, B is 24, and C is 19, and the height is 7. So to find the perimeter, I'm just going to add the 3 sides together. 8 plus 24 plus 19. And that adds up to 51 inches. Then to find the area, I substitute into 1/2 base times height. And so 1/2, the base 24, and the height 7. And so half of 24 is 12. 12 times 7 is 84. And so 84 square inches would be the area of a triangle with those dimensions. All right, so you are going to run into some problems where they give you coordinates for a triangle or some other figure, and you have to determine the perimeter and the area. So this point up here is supposed to be at 0, 4. Here we are at 1, 2. And over here we're at negative 4, 2. So if I call, say I'll just call this side x for now. You recall that to find the distance between 2 points, or the length of a line segment, we use the distance formula, which is just the square root of the change in x squared plus the change in y squared. So if I want to find the length of the segment that I've labeled x, well, if I'm going from negative 4 to 0, I changed a distance of 4. And going from 2 up to 4, I went up 2. So the square root of 4 squared plus 2 squared. 4 squared is 16. 2 squared is 4. That adds up to 20, which is 4 times 5. So x would equal 2 root 5. Then if I want to call this side over here on the right, if I call that y, and do the same process again, the change in x squared and the change in y squared. So going from 0 to 1, my x changed by 1, and going from 4 to 2, my y changed by 2. So the square root of 1 squared plus 2 squared, that's 1 plus 4, or the square root of 5. So now to find the perimeter, I just have to add up the sides. I can tell this bottom side right here, I don't have to use the distance formula on it because it's right on the grid, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units long. So I already have that one. So my perimeter is going to be 5 plus 2 root 5 plus root 5, and then I combine my like radicals, and so the perimeter would be 5 plus 3 root 5 units. So that's my perimeter. The area is going to be a little bit more straightforward because here we have our height. Right here our height is just 2 units, and so the area is 1/2 base times height. So 1/2, the base we said was 5 and the height was 2, and so when you multiply those all together you get 5. So 5 square units would be the area of the triangle. Sometimes you might have to work backwards with the information that's given you. In example 5, the base of the triangle is 14 centimeters and it's given an area of 42, and we have to find the height. So we're going to use our formula, area equals 1/2 base times height. We're going to plug in what we know and solve for what we don't know. So the base is 14, that's my base, and its area is 42, that's the capital A. So 42 is equal to 1/2 times 14 times h. And so then I just continue solving it for h. Half of 14 is 7, and so then I divide both sides by 7, and I get the height is equal to 6 centimeters. Could also run into a situation where you have the perimeter of the rectangle given to you. And so this particular one, the perimeter of the rectangle is 32 inches, and its length is 3 times its width. So this is one where it helps you to draw the picture and visualize it. So I'm going to draw myself a rectangle. I know that the perimeter is 32, so I'll go ahead and put that in the center there. Its length is 3 times the width. So if the width is W, 3 times the width would be 3W. So I'm going to use 3W to represent the length. So my perimeter is just 3w plus w plus 3w plus w. Or again, I could have multiplied them each by 2 and added. Anyway, all together you still get 8w, right? So we said that the perimeter was 32, so 8w would have to equal 32, which means that the width would have to be 4 inches. And then the length, which is 3 times as much, would be 12 inches. And if you go back and you plug it in, and just double check, if I say that this is 4 and this is 4 and this is 12 and this is 12, add them all together and sure enough they do add up to 32. So you know you did it correctly. Next we're going to talk about circles. Circles, we're going to use D for diameter and R for radius, and the radius is half of the diameter. So circumference, you can do it either pi times the diameter or 2 pi r, either of those, because of course 2r is the same as the diameter. And then for the area, we use pi r squared. Area is in square units, so area is the one with the r squared. It's really important to memorize these and keep them straight, because if you mix them up, you're going to get the wrong answer. So what pi is it's the ratio of the circumference to the diameter. It's approximately 3.14. So for now, since we're not using calculators, you can use 3.14 to get the approximate circumference. But if I want to know the exact circumference or the exact area, I'm going to leave pi in the answer. Okay, so because pi can never be written out, it goes on infinitely. It can never be written out exactly. So the only way to represent it exactly is to leave pi as part of the answer. So for example 1, I want to find the exact circumference and area. In this case, they gave me the radius, and so I'm going to use 2 pi r for the circumference. So 2 times pi times 3, we just multiply the 2 and the 3 together, and it's 6 pi yards. Okay, you leave pi in the answer. You do not multiply 6 times 3.14 if it wants the exact circumference. And then to find the area, we're going to use, the area is pi r squared. So the radius squared, that's just pi times 3 squared, or 9 pi. The area would be 9 pi yards squared, or square yards. And just like we had to work, well, this one, now we're going to do it approximate. It says find the circumference of the area and the area of a circle with a diameter of 8 inches. So this one doesn't say exact. And the other thing you want to pay attention to is they gave us the diameter this time. They didn't give us the radius. So pay attention to which information they're giving you when you do these problems. So again, so this time I can go ahead and use pi d. And so since the diameter is 8 inches, it would just be 8 pi inches. And then if I wanted to know approximately what that was, I would multiply that by 3.14, and I get 25.12 inches. That would be the approximate circumference. And to find the area, pi r squared. So the radius is half of the diameter. The radius is going to be 4 inches. So I'm going to do pi times 4 squared, or 16 pi. And then when I multiply 16 times 3.14, I get 50.24. So the area is approximately 50.24 square inches. That concludes the video. Thank you for watching.